On behalf of Capital Pride and Calvary Baptist Church here on the corner of H and 8th Northwest, I'm thrilled to welcome you to this beautiful labor of love the 34th Annual Interfaith Pride Service.
Even in our very fast and furious 3 months here, we find ourselves overcome by imagining all that has been held inside of these walls for 155 years. The church just celebrated our anniversary on Sunday. And now this sacred, beautiful gathering of people, this moment, this one and only, irreplaceable and unrepeatable experience will now be part of these walls, of this space. That's my winded way of saying that your presence here tonight makes this space more sacred, more beautiful, more alive and full and real.
So as you make your way from getting here to actually being here, know that each of you in your beautiful, wondrous, wild particularities is fully and most deeply welcome.
So let us gather together to reveal, to respect, to resist with full and fiery hearts. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of our Mayor Muriel Bowser, it's a pleasure to come out this evening and to be counted present. To new pastors of this great church, thank you for opening up your doors. I always knew in my own tradition that there's something about Calvary. We're celebrating the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning community here in Washington, D.C., and we celebrate it with pride. I'm glad to look into the audience and see members of the Mayor's Interfaith Council in the persons of Dr. Sid Fowler, Reverend Dwayne Johnson, and this month we welcome, yes, Reverend Maria Swearigan to the Mayor's Interfaith Council. I come just to offer you a word of hope, because on this day, this week, this month, this year, we need a word of hope. And that word of hope comes from our mayor. This is not a time for us to shrink from our values. Washington, D.C. has always worked and strived to be better. We are a welcoming sanctuary city for all people from all backgrounds and gender identities, and among the strongest human rights laws in the country are here in Washington, D.C. We must continue to stand up for our D.C. values. I know that some of you will gather on Saturday to participate in the annual Capitol Pride Parade, yet others will make their way to Pennsylvania Avenue on Sunday and participate in the Capitol Pride Festival. And Monday, perhaps some of you will make your way to DuPont Circle to affirm continued support for our friends and loved ones in Orlando. But on this day, on this evening, we gather together as not only Washingtonians, but people of faith. We are stronger. We are better. We pray together, sing together, and worship together. Then I was sitting on my pew quite proud that I had made it to the service on this evening. But then my bubble was quickly bursted when it was announced that this is the 34th annual Interfaith service. So to those of you all who have made this service what it is, we say thank you. We say keep the faith, because faith is what makes us stronger, and faith is what binds us together.
think we're supposed to use that podium, but I'm going to use this one anyway. Good evening and welcome to Pride in Our Nation's Capital. I'm Tom Wazurek, actually Father Tom in the North American Catholic Church, and I'm Vice President of the Board of Directors for Capital Pride. Beginning about a year ago in 2016, we had a group of volunteers that came together from across our region and developed this year's theme, which was Unapologetically Proud. Events that have unfolded since validated how visionary that theme would be, and it's sad that it is. While we gather tonight to share, live, and be our truths, we are faced with unprecedented lies and obfuscation on the part of governmental leaders. Bans are not bans, lies are fake news, and hate seems to be encouraged. I don't think any one of us could imagine that after the significant gains we've made in the last decade, that such gains could be erased and threatened in such short order or with such great short-sightedness. If ever we needed to come together and not be divided, it is today. If ever we needed to embrace and radiate love to the world, it is today. And if ever we needed to reach out, reach up, and reach in like never before, it is today. And in my Catholic faith, many paintings exist, including the Sistine Chapel, and they show a strong hand of God reaching down to people. We need to be that hand. We need to reach out to the poor, to the homeless, to the disenfranchised, and especially the LGBTQ people in our communities. If ever there was a time we need to follow the command that we're told is most important, love, it's today. I wear a bracelet that I would never want anyone to have to wear again. It's a thought my late husband wrote many times during his life in his journal, and it was that he didn't think he was wanted. As we begin tonight, as we begin this Pride season, I ask you to take time to turn to your right and to your left and share some love, beginning tonight. And as we leave, my challenge is that you take it into the world out there and that we share it not just today, but this entire weekend and 365. Make sure you know everybody is wanted. Thank you.
Great. Hi. So it is great to be here. Hey, Eric.
Hi, I am so glad to be here.
It's good to
Finally
see you.
made it to the service tonight.
So there are a few folks, and I wanted to ask members of the clergy and community who've ever helped to organize one of these interfaith services, if you would please stand for a moment. Jackie?
You've been on the coordinating, if you've been on the coordinating committee at some point over the years, please stand. Thank you for your work.
So we definitely want to thank you, and we want to thank all of you that have come out tonight. We invite you to reflect on the theme for tonight and its relationship to the overall Capital Pride theme, Unapologetically Proud, because revealing, respecting, and resisting is a part of what it means to be unapologetically proud. And so we are that, and we will continue to be that. And so thank you for being here, and we hope that you will celebrate in this service, not just enjoy the service, but that it'll mean something to you on the inside, so that when you leave and go back on the outside, what's on the inside continues to shine on the outside. Thank you.
And I want to thank you for being here. I don't exactly know why you come to this service, other than it is an amazing kind of homecoming feel. That every year we come together and we show the world, while outside religions are warring and are against each other, we are here together, and we can be a model for the world of interfaith cooperation and collaboration. I grew up, I told off when I was just a little queerling, I told the Presbyterian minister in my hometown that none of the people in his congregation were saved, and I could prove it to him in the Bible. And I never got invited back to that church. So when I went to Bible college, I hung out with the Baptist church where I got taught and was tutored in being a sign language interpreter, but I was hanging out with the Baptist. And then to do penance of some sort, I worked with Ruth and did Wellness Wednesdays for a year at the Presbyterian Church to make up for, for the sins of my past. And I commit myself to doing this work because this is the kind of work that shows us the best of who we are. I have one commercial that I want to give you, and it's for the group called NGLTF, the National Gay, Lesbian, and Queer Task Force. If you're a member and from that group, would you stand up, please? Alexa? There we are.
There's one in the back.
A few folks in the back. We want to let you know that they have brought us the Stoll Project that you can read about here in your program booklet. And then on the back cover, I ask for all of you, please, 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 ask your congregations, your organizations, and you as individuals to please volunteer for the Creating Change Conference. If you have never seen Queer Heaven, you will see Queer Heaven at Creating Change. It is a place of radical respect. And radical respect is what we're here to do tonight. So, welcome again to the service. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you, and may God's blessings bestow upon you. I'm going to recite the call to prayer, the adhan. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya lis-salat. Hayya lis-salat. Hayya lil-falah. Hayya lil-falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. Thank you.
We welcome in the four elements of air, fire, water, and earth by honoring the four directions.
We call to the air in the east as dawn, breath, spring, and beginnings. Help us to envision a bright future filled with justice, peace, and freedom. May we never settle for half promises and delayed justice.
We call to the fire in the south as noon, passion, summer, and blossoming. Help us to resist that which does not feed us and fight for those who are suffering. Let us never forget the battles of our ancestors.
We call to the water in the west as dusk, emotions, autumn, and harvesting. Help us to reap the fruits of our labor and ensure that all of our community can partake in this harvest feast. May we never hunger. May we never thirst.
We call to the earth in the north as midnight, our flesh and our bones, winter and hibernation. Help us to grow our communities to be inclusive, nurturing, and filled with love. May we kindle the hearth fires that will sustain us until the light returns.
In this way, we will celebrate, bless, and strengthen our communities as we build a better future for all of us.
Bishop Cheeks could not be with us tonight, so we're asking for Reverend Akosua McCray-Peters to come with libation right after.
Here at this sacred crossroads of the world's peoples and the world's faiths, here, right now, together, we call to the divine who wears a mask that is male, of a loving Father, of the Lord of the wild places. We call to the divine who wears the mask that is female, of the blue-green mother of all life, of the blood of the moon. We call to the divine who wears a mask that is both, who is the breaker of all shackles, an exchanger of shapes, and tutor to our ancestors. We call to the divine who wears a mask that is neither, who is the pillar of fire and the starless dark, and what is outside names. And so, by whatever name we call you, by whatever way we know you, however you appear, together we say this: if there is anything you wish to show us, our eyes are opened. If there is anything you wish to tell us, we are ready to listen. And we are here, now, together, at the crossroads of the world's peoples and the world's faiths. And we say, hail and welcome.
Tekaba shofar gadol leherusenu. Sound the great shofar for our liberation.
Tekiah Shvarim Teruah Tekiah Tekiah Shvarim Tekiah Tekiah Teruah Tekiah Gedolah.
It is the custom of my tradition to begin an evening service with a call to prayer, as we had just before, offering a prayer of thanks to God for creating the world, and another in appreciation for God's love. It's called Unending Love. Rabbi Shapiro has written a poem based on that prayer, which is found on page 6 in your prayer booklets. I ask that you learn the refrain, which is, we are loved, loved, loved by an unending love and unending love. I'll teach you the melody. If you learn it, the choir will sing it along. You can sing it as well. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. You got it. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved, we are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. We are loved, we are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled, as are the arms, the fingers, the voices, also the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved, we are loved, loved
Please rise as you are able for the reading, the congregational reading found on page 6 of your program. Please turn to your neighbor and say, "Let me tell you who we are." We will read this together. Together, Spirit of ages, creator of life and love, whose names and attributes are infinite, knowable, and unknown. O Spirit, hear our prayers. Our names, too, are many. Let me tell you who we are. We are those who are innocent and those who are wise. We are those who are proud and those who are humble. We are those who are accepted and those who are shunned without understanding why. We are those who love life and those who are fearful and confused. We are those who know abundance and those who know scarcity. We are inheritors of the past and architects of the future. We are givers and we are receivers. We are larger than our skins and smaller than our egos. We are diversity incarnate, dressed in all glorious hues of ethnicity and all the fascinating textures of genetics. We are the harvest of creation, related by our humanity and separated only by our own voices. We seek a common language, a language of love. Ancient One, it is important to know us in our rich diversity, for we struggle to know ourselves and one another. Wise One, it is important to know us in our myriad of similarities, for we are forgetful and need reminding. Dear One, it is important to know us in our many disguises, for we need but one thing: help us to love, and help us to know we are worthy of love. In this we are as one. Amen. Ashe. So may it be. Thank you. Please be seated.
Good evening. This reading is from John O'Donohue's book called To Bless the Space Between Us, a book of blessings, the great Celtic writer. Let us bless the imagination of the earth that knew early the patience to harness the mind of time, waited for the seas to warm, ready to welcome the emergence of things dreaming of voyaging among the stillness of land. And how light knew to nurse the growth until the face of the earth brightened beneath a vision of color. When the edges of ice came and sealed the earth inside an endless coma of cold, the heart of the earth held hope, storing fragments of memory ready for the return of the sun. Let us thank the earth that offers ground for home and holds our feet firm to walk in space open to infinite galaxies. Let us salute the silence and the certainty of mountains, their sublime stillness, their dream-filled hearts, the wonder of a garden, trusting the first warmth of spring, until its black infinity of cells becomes charged with dream. Then the silent, slow nurture of the seed's self, coaxing it to trust the act of death, the humility of the earth that transfigures all that has fallen and of outlived growth. The kindness of the earth, opening to receive our worn forms into the final stillness. Let us ask forgiveness of the earth for all our sins against her, for our violence and poisonings of her beauty. Let us remember within us the ancient clay holding the memory of seasons, the passion of the wind, the fluency of water, the warmth of fire, the quiver touch of the sun, and shadowed sureness of the moon, that we may awaken to live to the full the dream of earth, who chose us to emerge and to incarnate its hidden night in mind, spirit, and light. Ashe. Amen. Blessed be.
Hi, I'll be reciting a prayer from the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, which is the primary tenet of the Sikh faith. It will be on the equality of all. I'll recite it in Gurmukhi first, and then English translations afterwards. Sukh nit hum parb ek hai abnisi sune, jal tal mahal pure gat gat har bani hai. उच नीच सब एक समान कीत हस्ती बानी है मित सकना सुत बाद हिपो सब तिस दी जानी है तुस नानक देवी जिस नाम तिन हर रंग मानी है. The one God is the treasure of peace. I have heard that the one is eternal and imperishable. The one is totally pervading the water, the land, and the sky. The divine is said to be permitting each and every heart. The one looks alike upon the high and the low, the ant and the elephant. Friends, companions, children, and relatives are all created by the one. O Nanak, one who is blessed with the Naam, enjoys the divine love and affection.
Pavan Guru Pani Pita Mata Darat Mahat Divis Rat Duidai Daye Gela Saga Jagat Jungi Ai Buri Ai Vache Daram Hadur Karmi Apo Apani Ke Nere Ke Dur Jini Nam Diaya Ge Masaka Jagal Nanakate Meka Uchale Kete Chuti Nal Jini Nam Diaya Ge Masaka Jagal Nanakate meka uchale kete chuti nal. Air is the guru, water the father, and the earth the great mother of us all. In the laps of the two nurses, night and day, the whole world lives in an endless play. We must judge the results of our own actions. By our actions we live near or far. Those who deeply know who they are and who have worked hard can rejoice and go home. O Nanak, their faces shine with joy and they take many others along with them. Those who deeply know who they are and who have worked hard can rejoice and go home. O Nanak, their faces shine with joy and they take many others along. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
A reading from Torah and from the prophets. Tzedek tzedek tirdof למען תחיה וירשת את הארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך. לא תעשו אבל במשפט, לא תישא פני דל, ולא תחדר פני גדול, בצדק תשפוט עמיתך. אוי, מגיעי בית, בבית שדה ושדה יקרבו. אפס מקום, והושבתם לבדכם בקרב הארץ. צוררי צדיק לא כחופר, ואביונים בשער חיתו. לימדו היטב, דרשו משפט, אשר הוא חמוץ. ויגאל כמים משפט וצדקה כנחלתן. Justice, justice shall you follow. Only then you'll stay alive and inherit the land. Do not pervert justice, deferring to the great, favoring this person or the other. Judge your neighbor with justice. Shame on those who add house to house and join field to field till there is room for no one but themselves to live in the land. Shame on those who afflict the innocent and take bribes and push aside the needy at their door. Cease to do evil, learn to do good, seek justice and correct oppression. Let justice roll down like living waters, and equality like an overflowing stream.
A reading from 1 Peter. For it is God's will that by doing right you should silence the ignorance of the foolish. As servants of God, live as free people, yet do not use your freedom as a pretext for evil. Honor everyone, love the family of believers, fear God, honor the emperor.
Matthew 7:12. In everything, do unto others as you would have them do to you. For this is the law and the prophets.
Philippians 2:3-5. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility regard others as better than yourselves. Let each of you look not to your own interests, but to the interests of others. Let the same mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus.
And from the 10th chapter of 1 Corinthians. Just as I try to please everyone, in everything I do, not seeking my own advantage, but that of many, so that they may be okay.
From John chapter 13, verses 34 and 35. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you should also love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another.
1 Thessalonians 5:12 and 13. But we appeal to you, brothers and sisters, to respect those who labor among you and have charge of you in the Lord and admonish you. Esteem them very highly in love because of their work. Be at peace among yourselves. These are the words of God. Thanks be to God.
Assalamu alaikum. And Ramadan Mubarak. Both our readings are for the month of Ramadan, which we're currently in. Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, and we fast from food, water, and also sinful behavior. We're going to do 2 readings. The first reading is from the Quran. It's a surah. The second one is from a hadith, and those are authenticated stories passed down about the Prophet Muhammad, praise be upon him.
Assalamu alaikum again. So this is from Surah Al-Baqarah, and it states, "The month of Ramadan, in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for the people and clear proofs of guidance and criterion. So whoever cites the new moon of the month, let him fast it, and whoever is ill or on a journey, then an equal number of other days. Allah intends for you ease and does not intend for you hardship, and wants for you to complete the period and to glorify Allah for that which He has guided you, and perhaps you will be grateful."
Hadith narrated by Ibn Khuzaymah. The Messenger of Allah, praise be upon him, addressed his companions on the last day of Shaban, saying, "O people, a great month has come over you, a blessed month, a month in which is a night better than 1,000 months. Month in which Allah has made it compulsory upon you to fast by day and voluntary to pray at night. Whoever draws nearer to Allah by performing any of the optional good deeds in this month shall receive the same reward as performing the obligatory deed at any other time. And whoever discharges an obligatory deed in this month shall receive the reward of performing 70 obligations at any other time. It is the month of patience, and the reward of patience is heaven. It is the month of charity, and a month in which a believer's sustenance is increased. Whoever gives food to a fasting person to break his fast shall have his sins forgiven, and will be saved from the fire of hell. He shall have the same reward as the fasting person, without his reward being diminished." Ameen.
the only one. That echo war and flood, make them hear you, make them hear you. How justice was our battle and how justice was denied, make them hear you, make them hear you. Say to those who blame us for our way we chose to fight, and sometimes there are battles which are more than black or white. And I could not put down my sword when justice was my right. Make them hear you, make them hear you. Out and tell our story to your daughters and your sons. Make them hear you, make them hear you. And tell them in our struggles we were not the only ones. Make them hear you, make them hear you. Your sword can be a salmon or the power of the pen. Teach every child to raise a voice and bend my family man. Will justice be demanded by 10 million women and men? Make them hear you. When they hear you, I'll be with you. My
The Truth of Asylum Seekers. I am Livni Cabrera, and I am here on behalf of Center Global. Here in DC, we have organized Center Global to address the needs of LGBTI people fleeing from persecution because of who they are. Due to the oppressive anti-LGBTI laws and social cultures in nearly 80 countries around the world, the United States is a frequent destination for LGBTI individuals fleeing persecution in their home countries to seek protection of a new and safer life. We as members of the LGBTI community in the US have a duty to help provide safe passage for our brothers and sisters from other parts of the globe. Since 2012, we have assisted more than 180 members of our family, and Center Global can do more if each of you join us to open your hearts, homes, or cook a meal. Please listen and respond to these stories, which use changed names to protect their privacy. For those who fled to escape. For Maria, who fled El Salvador to escape brutal beatings because she is a transgender woman.
We open our
hearts, we open our homes, we offer hospitality. For Mercy, who fled Nigeria to escape persecution as an openly gay community activist. We open our hearts, we open our homes, we offer hospitality. For Ilya, who fled Russia to escape harassment, arrests, and public humiliation as a gay man in a relationship with other men. We open our hearts, we open our homes, we offer hospitality. For all LGBTI asylum seekers who are in harm's way, who suffer body, mind, and soul, for all around the world in need, we open our hearts, we open our homes, we offer hospitality.
Good evening. I'm Reverend Rob Keithan. I come to you from All Souls Church Unitarian. All Souls is one of the more than 60 congregations in the DC area committed to supporting the sanctuary movement, a national mobilization of congregations engaged in direct support, education, organizing, advocacy, and public demonstrations in solidarity with the immigrant community. There's more information in your program book about what you and your congregation can do to get involved, including a list of participating congregations. Although I must warn you that there is a glitch right now that causes our website to come up incompletely and in Spanish. So we're hopeful that that will be resolved sometime soon and you can get back to it because it's lovely.
Hello, I am Eugenia Reyes. I am a member of Calvary Baptist Church. I was asked to say 2 sentences about why Calvary is part of the sanctuary movement. It is very hard for me to say it in 2 sentences because this means a lot to us as a community of faith, but also it means a lot to all of us as Jesus followers. Calvary Baptist Church, as an ecumenical congregation, has a Spanish-speaking community. Most of us are Salvadorian, facing fears and worries about our legal immigration status. We also have a partnership Burmese congregation that we learn that they also face the same immigration fears as we do, the Spanish-speaking community here at Calvary. Before we learn about PICO Network, we as a congregation started getting concerns about our own brothers and sisters here at Calvary, who might be affected by the new immigration policy enforced by the new president. We started asking ourselves how we can support ourselves, but also how can we support a whole community here in Washington, D.C. I remember getting an email from our brothers and sisters from here at Calvary, our English native speaker, offering support and asking, what do we need as a Spanish-speaking community? PICO came right on time. For Calvary, it was the unique opportunity to advocate with a bigger crowd as Jesus followers. We are blessed to be part of this movement, and to have the opportunity to learn, walk together, and be a sanctuary in place for our brothers and sisters, not only for our Spanish-speaking congregation, not only for our Burmese congregation, but for all DMV here in Washington, D.C.
Please join us in a responsive reading. It's printed on page 9. Your part is simple. It's our lives depend on our solidarity. We will resist fear.
Although we come from many religious traditions, we share a common faith that all people and all families deserve respect, fair treatment, and the resources needed to live and thrive.
Our lives depend on our solidarity.
We will resist fear.
When the powers that be try to divide us from each other and demonize the people we know as our family, our friends, and our neighbors, we will not remain silent. Our lives depend on our solidarity. We will resist fear.
Sanctuary is more than just a building or a space. Sanctuary is a vision, a value, and practice. Sanctuary is a faithful manifestation of our democracy.
Our lives depend on sanctuary. We will resist fear. With courage, commitment, and love, we will work together until liberty and justice truly exist for all people.
Our lives depend on our solidarity.
We will resist fear.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Alexa Rodriguez y soy de la Trans-Latina Coalition. Good evening. My name is Alexa Rodriguez. I'm from the Trans-Latina Coalition.
Hi, good evening, you guys. My name is Gia Martinez. I work for Nova Salud. I'm a trans health educator in Falls Church, Virginia.
Good evening. I am Jasmine Sutherland of the DC Center.
We need to face the facts. The year 2016 was the most violent year on the record for trans people, with 27 transgender people, almost trans women of color, murdered that we know of this year. It's on track to be deadlier, the 2017. I am one of the resistance of thousands of people fleeing our countries from violence and transphobia.
We trans women of color are your friends and family. Our stories are your stories. When you read headlines of success, you read of us. When you read headlines of horror, you read of us. I ask you to be awake and aware, to open your hearts and your churches, your mosques, synagogues, and circles. I ask you to listen and open your hearts.
Please respond. We are friends and family together. Daily we resist.
In the face of being here to support our new generation of transgender youth, fighting for their rights and the fact that we're here and we're real as immigrants, as trans women of color, as human beings, we are here. We are here to stay. My resistance, I exist, I resist.
We are friends and family together, we will resist. In the face of discrimination, I'm standing here, alive, being lucky to survive. In the face of transphobia, I'm here to thrive. In the face of homelessness, I resist. We are here. We resist.
In the face of adversity, I resisted temptation to give up or give in, and I resolved to make each breath that I take an act of revolution against hate, death, and inequality. We are friends and family. Together, daily, we resist.
If there are any AWAB church clergy, ministers, leaders, or members, we'd like you to join us right here or just stand where you are. I'm Reverend Jill, thank you. I'm Reverend Jill McCray from Twinbrook Baptist Church, and I'm so honored to be here tonight with the pastors, ministers, and members of the churches that are part of the Association of Welcoming and Affirming Baptists. Our churches encompass Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. In Maryland, Twinbrook Baptist, the Empowerment Liberation Cathedral. In Virginia, Washington Plaza Baptist, Ravensworth Baptist, and Commonwealth Baptist. In D.C., New Hope Baptist, Covenant Baptist UCC, and of course, where we are tonight, Calvary Baptist. There are a total of 9 AWAB churches in the D.C. metropolitan area, and I know it is still a shock to find out that there are welcoming and affirming Baptists. That there are indeed lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, and queer Baptists. Thank you. In these days when all we seem to hear from are those other Baptists. Together we are a witness that there's a different kind of Baptist. Baptists that practice love, not hate, inclusion, not exclusion. And that includes the pulpit. And so we are so thrilled that Calvary has made the historic decision to call Reverend Maria Swearingen and Reverend Sally Surratt as senior pastors. As gathered AWAB, we welcome them. We welcome you into the AWAB family, and we ask that you all welcome them to bring the message now.
Thank you. We're thrilled to be here with you tonight. Thank you for inviting the new kids on the block, I guess, to participate in this gathering. I'll go ahead and tell you up front that our remarks this evening won't tell you too much about living strategically. I think that title snuck its way onto the page before we sent one in, and so probably that was our fault. But our reflections this evening are better described as the weird stuff that happens when our fears are transformed into love, or perhaps more particularly, when we find fear in a brown paper bag. When I served as a hospital chaplain before beginning ministry here at Calvary, I spent a good portion of my time offering pre-surgery prayers. Generally, patients arrived about 2 hours prior to surgery, and in order to get them ready, there was a steady stream of people coming in and out: nurses, anesthesiologists, surgeons, and several more. As I'm sure you could imagine, or perhaps you have experienced for yourself, most patients were anxious, afraid even, and feeling quite vulnerable. I was constantly amazed at how poignant those 5 minutes could be. When I entered a room, I rarely knew what kind of surgery the person was having. Sometimes it was fairly straightforward outpatient surgery, and other times the patient was preparing for open heart surgery, or the 4th or 5th or 15th surgery to remove cancer. Some rooms were packed with family and loved ones. Other rooms held only the patient, with no one there to hold their hands or their burdens. Either way, I would make my way to the patient's bedside, and after introducing myself, I would ask how they were feeling. Often their eyes would well up with the tears as they reached for my hand. In these moments, the eye contact and body language told the stories that words could not contain. Before praying together, I would ask if there was anything besides their surgery they wanted to include in prayer. And many times, patients poured out their hearts as they named pressing and poignant concerns about family and loved ones in the face of their own mortality. I mostly saw the prayer as a time of blessing, of naming fears aloud, and asking that the divine presence would be felt. If there's one thing these pre-surgery prayers have taught me, is that being afraid is as universal a human emotion as there is. Even if we rarely confront our mortality directly, we all carry fears about our lives and the lives of those that we love. And these are not the only fears that press in on us. We have fears about not having enough to pay down our debts, enough to put food on the table, enough to send our children to college. We have fears about those who are strangers to us. We have fears about the unknown. We have fears about whether we are enough. And then there are fears that are carried and felt by the oppressed among us. As Howard Thurman, former chaplain up the street at Howard Divinity, describes, those fears are a pervasive fog that is altogether nowhere and everywhere at the same time. Sometimes, and certainly right now, it is as though we can feel the fear pulsing through the collective human body.
Often our fears bang on the front doors of our hearts with no warning and no dinner invitation. Sometimes they just show up, like they certainly have these last weeks and months, kind of suffocation, leaving us internally ravaged by their abrupt entry into our lives. No doubt that Sally and I have faced a sliver of that as a same-sex couple spending much of our life together in the South. We're only barely getting used to the idea that we can be affectionate in public here in DC, which has been fun. But truth be told, we still watch where we hold hands. We keep our longing gazes short and sweet. We never forget that someone, somewhere, might choose violence when we least expect it. But even that feels like a sliver compared to the injustices so many people the world over carry in their spirits and on their bodies. Black men and women bearing the unbearable weight of brutality, immigrant families fearful of unrest and violence in their home countries and targeted, bigoted violence on our streets, refugees seeking asylum and finding our willfully ignorant prejudice masked as fear, women, both cis and trans, trying to cross the street without enduring another catcall, misogynist glare, or even brutal attack. No doubt each of us in this room has eaten our own slice of the fear pie, particularly those of us who have long struggled for equal rights and basic human dignities. And I don't know about you, but often for me, the fear feels primal, ancient, a part of my instinct and wiring. No matter how many smartphones and smart drones we have, the visceral feeling that we are prey in a lion's savanna can hit us right in the gut when we least expect it. That kind of fear banged on my soul's door about a year ago, after 49 beautiful dancers and dreamers, most of them gay, found themselves lost to an angry man's violent tirade in a Florida nightclub. I felt that fear latch onto my insides. But when you are a pastor, you find ways to suck it up and go to vigils and offer words of blessing, even if your heart is wide-eyed and hyper alert. On the Sunday evening after the attack, I helped lead a vigil for several hundred people in Greenville, South Carolina's downtown area. The next day, I woke up, went to work like any other day, and got home a few minutes before Sally did. As I do pretty much every day after parking in the backyard, opening the kitchen door, and petting the dog, I walked to the front door to check if we had any mail. And there, sitting on our front porch, was a plain brown paper bag, folded with a white envelope stuck to it. I bent down to pick it up, and then I stopped myself short. Where did this bag come from? No one said they were dropping anything off for us. And there it was. The lion, the savannah, the terror, the loss, the injustice, the uncertainty, the gripping fear. Right there on my front porch in this brown paper bag. I stepped back, took a breath, and of course I called Sally. Hey, I don't mean to be weird right now, but was anybody stopping by to leave us anything today? No, not that I know of, she said back. Okay, I responded. So there's this brown paper bag just sitting on our front porch, and I don't know, lots of people would have seen me last night. It was a public event, it was on the news. I guess I'm just a little bit nervous about it. Of course, Sally told me not to open it if I didn't feel good about it and wait until she got home. She almost hung up, but then said, you know what, I just remembered several weeks ago someone at First Baptist, that's our home church, had a gift for us in celebration of our ordination. And I forgot to bring it home, and I keep forgetting to stop by the church to pick it up. I wonder if Becky, she works the front desk at the office at least once a week. Anyway, I wonder if she stopped by our house on the way home and dropped it off. Heart rate came down. Another deep breath. Okay, I'm just gonna open it. I started with the envelope and scanned to the signature quickly. It was Robin Barton, a dear friend from church. The tears already started to well. I brought the bag inside and opened it.
When I got home, Maria led me to the dining room table, and she showed me the contents of the brown paper bag. There on the table was a beautiful handmade chalice and paten. She had waited for me so we could read the letter together. Robin wrote, "Please accept this humble communion set I made as an affirmation of both of your ordinations. I made it with many prayers for both of you. The names of all who participated in the service serve to remind you of that special moment when many of us came to confirm the obvious call that God has on both of your lives and the future ministry you will serve. When others question your call, may you always look back at the many who came to affirm your ordinations. The Bible verses on the bottom of the chalice were read on ordination day. May they always serve as encouragement. When either of you or both of you use this communion set, it has been prayed over in depth. The paint had to be 3 layers deep. With each brushstroke, I prayed for your ministry. I found myself praying for your growth, for the precious people you will serve, and for the peace that many will find through your ministry. I found myself led to pray for protection as well." That line stopped us in our tracks. We had already pulled out the bag's beautiful content. She'd written that letter weeks before, and the bag sat at the front desk for days. But this particular day of all days, it was delivered to our doorstep. I found myself led to pray for your protection as well. The tears no longer welled now. They flowed freely as we took in the miraculous synchronicity of this gift. Our fears had been transformed into love right before our eyes.
Sometimes our fears bang on the front doors of our hearts and show up in ominous packages only to press us more deeply into the strange reality that we are constantly being transformed by love. We are constantly being held by the universe, by our Holy One, by our sacred communities, by whoever and whatever it is that we are held by, even when it feels like we are nothing more than prey in a violent, uncertain savannah. Though I know I wasn't around during the Nixon years, much less during the decades we built our economy on the backs of slaves, at least for my little life, the terror felt from this current social and political savannah has never felt more palpable to me. I mean, we've described it, we can feel it in the air in this city. The lies being told in hallways, behind closed doors, in front of God and everybody, the fear that leaders in the highest seats in this city, this country, has to offer, stoking fear for their own gain and power, and people's health insurance is on the line, and people's immigration status is on the line, and people's lives are on the line. How will we ever endure these years? How have marginalized people endured centuries of these years? Can this country bear the weight of such demagoguery, such hatred, such violence? How will any of this produce love? Y'all got any answers yet? Okay, well, we'll keep going. Over 100 times in the Hebrew and Christian scriptures, some divine being tells some other human being in moments meriting plenty of fear and uncertainty, "Fear not." Unfortunately, this phrase is often talked about among religious people as God's gentle or not so gentle chastisement of our lack of faith. As if God is saying to us, "Come on, you little fool. I'm, God, the creator of heaven and earth. I got the whole world in my hands. If you have any faith at all, man up and fear not." What an unfortunate, terrible, frankly violent reading. Instead, when I read this more deeply in relationship to my actual life, I imagine the divine saying back to me, "Of course you are afraid. And well, you should be." The list of things to fear is long, entrenched, pervasive, and for the dispossessed and dispowered among us, the ones who are vulnerable and violated, the list of fears is only that much longer and that much more violent. It's okay that you are afraid. It makes sense that you are afraid. But don't you dare be afraid alone. I am with you, and so is your sacred community. As a Christian minister, I find the Beatitudes a rich place to start with all this. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they'll be comforted. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they shall be filled. I mean, talk about a list of actual things to fear. Hunger, thirst, persecution, weakness, mourning. This is literally the list of things we are working feverishly to avoid in life. The list of things that we fear the most.
Our sibling Jesus isn't saying that we should squelch, deny, ignore those fears. Instead, he, along with all of our divine figures, is inviting us to do the nearly impossible, to imagine each of those particular palpable fears being transformed by love and into love.
Hunger to fullness.
grief to joy,
fear to love,
one way or another.
even when we cannot believe it to be true,
Even when the whole world, all of humanity, groans under the weight of fear's power.
even when everything inside us tells us all is lost.
Far from it, dear friends. As long as we have the intoxicating capacity to love, to suffer on behalf of love's cause, to stand in solidarity with those who have not been loved in ways that their divinity and dignity demand, to refuse the narratives of hatred that engulf our imagination, and to love, to love, to love. We will transform our worlds, the world, and discover strangely and slowly that our world and the world have always been and always will be the same thing.
So surprise, surprise, the two new lesbian pastors in town don't have much to tell you tonight amidst all that swirling and twirling around us than to just freaking love.
When it hurts.
When it feels wondrous.
When it's towards your enemies.
When it's your life at stake.
When it's the easiest thing you've ever done.
When it's aching and treacherous.
When there's no reward for it.
When no one notices.
When your body is lost without it.
When the world is begging for it.
When the world is falling apart.
When the world is coming together.
When God is near.
When God is far.
When you are dead.
When you are alive.
When all is right.
When all is lost.
When that is all there is left to do.
Love is the revelation. Love is the heart and soul of respect. Love is the resistance. You are loved, loved by an unending love, an unending love. Amen.
Let's take a deep breath and breathe in what we have just heard. Let us breathe it in, let it out. All our lives, we wanted to offer ourselves in love. All our lives, we want to offer ourselves. Tonight, let us offer ourselves. Will you pray with me? Holy God,
generous lover,
we are so thankful that you are still speaking,
still whispering, singing and shouting to each of us with a compassionate voice of acceptance and the grace-filled challenge of affirmation.
For all these gifts of love of our lives, we thank you.
For all the places, people, and situations in need of your justice and mercy, we implore you.
For all the ways in which we are called to turn the world inside out and upside down, we ask your guidance and support.
Use us and all our gifts to disrupt the powers that would limit your love.
And keep widening the circle of your welcome.
And the people say, Amen.
Amen. Let us gather together the evening's offering.
So many times we struggle trying to find our way in a world that sometimes doesn't know who we are.
We suffer the indignities, the pain and the hurt, trials and tribulations, and over again we cry out for some relief, for some resolve. We hold on to our strands of faith, knowing that in our faith there is hope. That one day, when the glory comes, we'll be free. Because we will win. We gather here in this place today, saying that no more will we be held back by fear. No more will we allow our light to be dimmed by those who think they know better than us who God is, or what God intended for us to be, or who God intended for us to love, or what the universe's natural desire was for us. No more will we live in shame, guilt, and fear. Because here, we come from many places. We worship in a whole lot of different ways. But in this moment, we are one. And it is this light that lives in each and every one of us that we will hold on to. It is this light that will carry us through. So when we leave outside of these walls, that light that lives in us will shine through us. And it doesn't matter if you call me Sikh or pagan or Christian or Jew or Muslim. Doesn't matter if you call me universal Unitarian. It doesn't matter if you call me the void. It doesn't matter, because what matters is that we are one. Nothing can take that away from us. Nothing can change who we are. One day, one day, when the glory comes, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. Oh, one day. One day. Yes, God. Oh, one day. One day. When the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, one day. Glory, glory,
Good evening. We come to the part in our service where you have another part. Repeat after me. Reveal. Respect. Resist. Reveal. Respect. Resist. Reveal. Respect. Resist. Tell me what faith looks like. Reveal. Respect. Resist. Reveal. Peel back the layers of your onion. Show out. Show up. This is the time to act. Maybe reveal means request every victory, everyone, and love. Forget everyone. Forget everything. Forget injustice and past, and love, as we just heard our pastor so eloquently speak. Love. This is your part in page 10. Congregation, speak with me. Together we commit ourselves as individuals, as organizations, to take responsibility, to reveal, respect, resist. Reveal, respect, resist. Reveal, respect, resist.
Respect. RESPECT. Find out what it means to me. Reveal, respect, resist. Not the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, but the platinum rule. Do unto others as they would be respected and want to have done unto them. For me, as Maya Angelou would say, I am a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling I bear in the tide, leaving behind nights of terror. Come on now. My friend, I understand and fear. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, bringing the gifts my ancestors gave. I am the dream. You are the dream and the hope of the slave. We rise, we rise, we rise. Reveal.
Resist. Matthew 10:14 says, and if anyone will not receive you or listen to your words, shake off the dust from your feet when you leave that house or that town. Resist is an intransitive verb to expect force in opposition. To resist is to counteract, to defeat, to duck, to defy, to oppose, to repel. Resist, the R, to recognize we are the ones we've been waiting for. The E, to energize and bring our GLBTQ and allies together to resist in nonviolent ways. The S, to share best practices for resistance. The I, affirming that I am who I am because the great I am sent me here just as I am. The S, synthesis. We are better if we combine our LGBTQ voices together, for there are strength in numbers. And the T, trust. Our process towards resistance. Plan, move, maintain, resist, resist, resist. Ashe. And so it is.
together at the end of the day. We all say, when I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. When I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. Now we reveal, now we respect, now we resist. When I get older, when I get older, they will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. When I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. Now we reveal, now we respect, now we resist. Now we reveal, now we resist. Now we resist, now we reveal, now we respect, now we resist. Now we reveal, now we respect, now we resist. Now we reveal, now we respect, now we resist. We were horrified, kept thinking you could never win, 'cause you're not qualified. But then we spent so many nights thinking how this is so wrong, and we grew strong.